So here's the thing, a hidden trail on an old road map lit up like a warning sign, and the investigator's breath just caught in his throat. I'm Marcus Reed, a former investigative reporter and crime scene analyst, with a decade of deep dive journalism under my belt. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. In this video, you'll see the night the storm erased the obvious, the secret route that vanished with a sha, and why that clue could finally end the mystery. It's gonna be a long story, but stick with me. Disclaimer: all names have been altered where necessary to protect the families involved. Every document, photo, and interview cited here is publicly accessible, just so we're clear. The FBI's Unsolved Murder Database lists the Asha case, 2021, and notes that a severe thunderstorm battered the region the night she disappeared. Pretty intense stuff. Source: FBI Unsolved Murder Database. On July 12, 2021, a storm warning blared across the county's emergency broadcast, forcing drivers to slow to a crawl on the slick, winding stretch of Route 23. Who hasn't been there, right? Yet the official report glossed over a crucial detail: a faint, unmarked line on a handwritten map that traced a narrow back road snaking away from the main highway. That line, invisible to anyone who never looked beyond the primary route, became the centerpiece of the investigator's breakthrough. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. He was poring over satellite imagery when the storm-raged night on the map flickered, revealing a hidden trail that had been sketched in ink decades ago. The gasp that escaped his lips was not just surprise, it was a warning. Asha K vanished that night, her disappearance catalogued by the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NamUs, with a chilling notation: storm warning issued, vehicle observed heading south on Route 23. It sends chills down your spine. The case file records a vehicle later, identified as a black sedan, turning off its GPS and disappearing onto an unnamed back road commonly used by locals. Source: NamUs case file. Witnesses later told CBS that the driver, a man named Jason, was the last person seen turning off his GPS before the vehicle vanished into the night. It's like, what happened next? The investigative report highlights that the back road was never mentioned in police briefings, despite being a known shortcut for truckers and farmhands alike. That's just weird. Source: CBS investigative report. Eyewitnesses in a nearby farmstead recalled hearing a vehicle thunder past as rain hammered the tin roof, the sound swallowed by the storm's roar. It's like, can you even imagine? The New York Times article cites those same accounts, suggesting a possible hitchhiker pickup that could have altered the vehicle's path in an instant. It's a real possibility. Source: New York Times. So why does this hidden route matter? A peer-reviewed study on cold case investigations shows that weather anomalies, especially sudden storms, often mask forensic evidence and create blind spots in initial investigations. It's like the storm is hiding something. The study explains that when a storm coincides with a crime scene, the chaos can hide critical clues, delaying breakthroughs for years. It's frustrating, to say the least. Source: NCJRS peer-reviewed study. If the hidden back road is real, it rewrites the timeline of Asha's final hours. It's a game changer. Instead of a straightforward disappearance on Route 23, the path suggests she may have been pulled into a remote, sparsely populated area where evidence could easily be lost to the elements. It's a scary thought. That possibility explains why the official case stalled after the initial search, and why families still cling to hope for answers. They deserve closure. The investigator's map, illuminated by a stormlit monitor, showed the exact curvature of the hidden trail. It's like a puzzle piece. It intersected a series of abandoned farm fields, a disused culvert, and a shallow creek that swells dramatically during heavy rain. It's a lot to take in. Each of those features could have erased footprints, tire marks, or even a discarded personal item that would otherwise have been recovered. It's like, What are we missing? When the storm finally broke, it left behind a landscape of mud-filled ditches and waterlogged roads. It's a mess. In such conditions, a vehicle could easily become stuck, its occupants forced to seek shelter in the nearest structure, perhaps a dilapidated barn that no longer appears on modern satellite images. The investigators' gut feeling was that the hidden trail led to exactly such a place, a forgotten waypoint that police never considered. It's a hunch. The stakes are high, like really high. If this route proves authentic, it could supply the missing forensic link that has eluded detectives for 2 years. It's a long time. It would also provide closure for Asha's family, who have endured endless press conferences and speculative headlines. They deserve better. Moreover, it would expose a systemic oversight, the tendency of law enforcement agencies to discount local knowledge in favor of official road maps. It's a flaw in the system. Imagine a scenario where, after the storm, the back road collapsed under the weight of a stalled vehicle, burying a set of footprints in the mud. It's a possibility. Those prints would have been washed away days later, leaving no trace for investigators to follow. It's like, what if? The hidden trail, therefore, is not just a line on paper. It is a potential time capsule of the night's chaos, locked away by the very weather that made it impossible to see. It's mind-blowing. The investigators' discovery forces a reevaluation of every piece of evidence collected since July 12. It's a fresh start. The GPS ping that showed a southbound movement on Route 23 now conflicts with the visual testimony of a driver turning off his device. It's a contradiction. The storm warning bulletin, once a background detail, becomes a catalyst that redirected the vehicle onto a path no one expected. It's a twist. The hidden trail, once dismissed as a cartographer's curiosity, now stands as the linchpin of the case. It's the key. In the next segment, we'll trace the exact coordinates of the hidden road, cross-reference them with satellite archives, and interview locals who still remember the storm's fury. It's gonna be interesting. We'll also examine how weather-driven anomalies have derailed other investigations, drawing a stark parallel to Asha's case. It's a pattern. The question remains, can a single line on an old map finally bring a family the answers they deserve? Stay with us as we peel back the layers of a night that turned a simple drive into a labyrinth of secrets, and discover why the storm's warning was more than just a weather alert. It was a silent scream that no one heard until now. It's a story worth telling. The case kicked off with just one grainy interview. A nearby trucker, who only goes by Jason, remembered what happened on the night of July 12, 2021. I was driving south on Route 23 when I spotted someone standing on the shoulder, right before the sky cracked open. It was dark, and the rain slammed down so fast I barely had a moment to think. Jason's recollection turned out to be the first thread that ties 3 otherwise unrelated clues together. The FBI's Unsolved Murder Database records that the Asha case was entered with a clear note about severe weather conditions at the time she vanished. Source: that weather flag lines up with the storm warning logged in Asha K's NamUs file, which shows a warning issued that very night. Source: satellite pictures taken mere hours after the storm exposed a thin, unpaved road that disappeared into a thick stand of trees. That road, missing from most commercial maps, shows up as a skinny, brown line slicing through a ribbon of flood water. When the water pulled back, mud and debris covered the channel, essentially wiping it from the aerial view. A zoomed-in view of that same picture, overlaid with a GIS grid, reveals the unpaved lane crossing Route 23 close to the farmstead cited in a New York Times story. The article quoted several witnesses who said a vehicle roared past the farm amid a heavy downpour, a noise that the storm itself could have muffled. Source: the weather data itself backs up how sudden that downpour was. National radar logs from that night show a localized, high-intensity pulse that dumped over 3 inches of rain in 10 minutes, enough to turn a dirt road into a raging torrent. That same radar slice captures the storm's core sweeping straight over the Route 23 and Hidden Back Road junction, spawning a brief but intense flash flood source. When investigators cross-checked the radar data with the FBI's weather notes, a pattern popped up. The storm's peak lined up exactly with the moment Jason said he heard a vehicle rush past the farmstead. That timing hints the rain might have hidden a car's approach, its headlights bouncing off the water, only for it to vanish when the driver veered onto the unpaved lane. Police reports, though, raise a red flag. The county sheriff's missing person file doesn't mention any side road or detour at all. The narrative stays glued to the main highway, leaving out any talk of a back road that locals often take to dodge traffic. That gap mirrors a wider pattern flagged in a pier. So the investigation was kinda stuck, until a security camera from this one gas station on the edge of town kicked in. And I mean, it was a super grainy footage, but it showed a dark sedan pulling onto this barely marked dirt road, just minutes before the storm warning started blaring on every radio. Now, locals call this hidden path the backway, and it pretty much disappears into these thick woods that line Route 23. Within seconds of the car showing up, the headlights just vanish, swallowed up by the storm. And fun fact, the FBI's Unsolved Murder Database mentions the severe weather conditions at the time of disappearance. Source: FBI. Investigators were able to cross-check the license plate from the footage, and it matched this old pickup truck that the police had linked to a known hitchhiker, Jason, who, by the way, also vanished that same night Asha went missing. CBS did this investigative report that said Jason was last seen turning off his GPS and heading onto some unnamed back road that the locals like to use. Source: CBS. So Jason had this rep for being a drifter who'd give rides to stranded travelers during storms. And actually, some witnesses from a nearby farmstead remembered hearing a vehicle drive by their fields as the rain was pounding on the roof, which the New York Times picked up on in their coverage of the case. Source: NYT. But what really sealed the connection was this cell phone ping they found, a Shaz device, which everyone thought was dead, sent out one last signal that traced a path straight to that unmarked trail. And get this, the ping lines up perfectly with the moment the sedan pulled onto the dirt road, which pretty much confirms that Asha's phone and probably Asha herself were headed down that hidden route. So when you put these three things together, the video evidence, the license plate, and the digital trail, you get this one clear story. Asha got picked up that night, and the car that took her disappeared onto this road that just vanishes into the storm. The NamUs case file, which has a formal storm warning from July 12, 2021, also mentions a vehicle heading south on Route 23 around the same time. Source: NamUs. The forensic analysts, who know that crazy weather can mess up evidence, referenced this peer-reviewed study that said storm-driven conditions often mean missed forensic opportunities. Source: NCJRS. In Asha's case, the rain washed away footprints, the mud got rid of tire tracks, and the storm just drowned out any cries for help. But somehow, the camera footage, the license plate, and the phone ping all survived, each one a piece of this bigger, really scary picture. When all the pieces fell into place, the lead investigator, who'd been poring over the case file for months, just gasped, "Storm warning." And I mean, it was both literal because of the weather and kinda metaphorical because of the danger that Asha was in. The revelation just shook the whole department, 'cause it turned out the suspect wasn't some random stranger, but this known hitchhiker with a history of disappearing after picking people up during storms. This breakthrough changes everything. Instead of Asha just wandering into the woods alone, the evidence shows she was probably inside a vehicle, and her fate's all tied up with the driver's. The grainy image of the car on the dirt road becomes this key piece of evidence. The license plate's the key, and the phone pings the final proof. Together, they form this chain that just doesn't leave any room for doubt. Now, with the storm still fresh in everyone's memory, investigators can focus on the driver's last known route, this hidden backway, and the locals who might have seen the vehicle before it vanished. The case, which used to be this maze of dead ends, now points to this one really chilling answer. Asha's disappearance wasn't just some random act of nature, but a deliberate pickup that turned fatal under the cover of the storm. The next steps are gonna be intense, re-interviewing witnesses, re-examining the gas station footage frame by frame, and tracking the hitchhiker's known contacts. If the storm hid the truth, this new evidence has finally brought it to light. Discovering that hidden back road, only hinted at in a brief GPS hiccup, might totally reshape how we tell Asha K's disappearance story. Should that secret path actually exist, it probably isn't just a one-off oddity. All across the country, dozens of cold cases hit the same blind spot, with detectives favoring big highways and ignoring side roads. The FBI's Unsolved Murder Database flags the 2021 Asha case, even logging the weather, and it drives home how a storm warning reshaped the terrain that evening. Source: FBI. NamUs also logs that July 12, 2021 storm alert, plus a car moving south on Route 23, which hints at a different route. Source: NamUs. When Jason, who was behind the wheel, switched off his GPS and disappeared onto an unnamed back road, a point CBS highlighted, he slipped into a stretch that hardly ever shows up in official logs. Source: CBS. That very night, a New York Times witness said they heard a vehicle roar past a farmstead in the downpour, a noise that could easily be a hitchhiker's pickup. Source: NYT. A peer-reviewed study points out that weird weather patterns often line up with missed forensic chances, meaning storms can hide key evidence. Source: NCJRS. Just picture the ripple effect. Each ignored lane, each storm-shrouded scene, might be the missing puzzle piece in other probes. By spotlighting Asha's secret route, we're calling for a crowd-sourced audit of alike cases, an open-source push that could pull out patterns hiding in plain view. So, we're counting on you. Got dash cam clips of local streets, rain-slick intersections, or a memory of a weird car on a night like July 12? Drop them in the comments or toss them into our secure portal. Even a short eyewitness recollection can lock down timelines and prove those forgotten routes existed. When whole communities pool their memories, patterns surface that no lone detective could ever spot. Your involvement powers the next chapter of this hunt. Give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so we can keep digging up truth together. Together, we're turning lone mysteries into a web of answers, and each share nudges us a step nearer to the truth.